Obviously, this week, Oregon parents are sending their kids back to school. And at the top of a parent's priorities are keeping their kids healthy and ensuring that they're safe at school. And that is top of my mind today, and I think it's something all of us share. This year, parents face a new and growing challenge: easily accessible e-cigarettes. And I think what we ought to do is cut through the smoke and make sure that people get some central facts. The products are highly addictive. They're subject to minimal safety standards and oversight, exposing users to dangerous chemicals like formaldehyde. And they are getting into the hands of more and more young people. I'm the ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee. We have jurisdiction over both trade and taxes, and I have been following these developments, these disturbing developments for a number of years. For example, years ago, I began to get increasingly concerned about imports, and particularly imports from China. Imports from China have doubled year over year since 2016. And 40% of high school seniors report having used e-cigarettes in the past year. So a new generation of nicotine users has essentially been created almost overnight. And I'll tell you, I believe the companies that are making billions of dollars are downplaying the health risks. And I've seen this before. It's not very different than the playbook that big tobacco ran for decades. An added risk is that e-cigarettes may be contaminated with other substances, compounding health problems. So when the Senate comes back next week, I'm going to do two things in my capacity as the ranking member of the Senate Finance Committee, which, as I mentioned, has authority over both trade and taxes. One is to make sure that the recent death in Oregon that's under investigation by state health officials and any others around the country get front and center attention in the United States Senate. And two, I will introduce legislation to address this growing problem by taxing e-cigarettes the same way that traditional cigarettes are taxed. I think it's understood that increasing the price of cigarettes makes it far less likely that teenagers will take up smoking. Certainly, taxing e-cigarettes could give us the opportunity to achieve the same goal. Our country has succeeded in almost eliminating teen smoking. And without going into extended history, I can tell you, I remember when the tobacco executives who were under oath in 1994 told me that nicotine was not addictive. That was a lie. It was a falsehood. It was a smokescreen. And I will tell you, just as I did back then, I'm not just going to take the word of a bunch of big companies who say when they're making their pitches, they're taking care of the health of kids. We can't drop the ball and allow a new generation of young people to become addicted to these dangerous products. So I think we're going to have a couple of introductions. This is almost like the United States Senate where we yield to each other and all that kind of stuff. Dr. Myron will